I see it. I see it. Pull there. I see it. I see it. Come on. I see it. Come on. I thought they were on the
about polar bears and hopefully really cool come out and join us. He has been running for quite a few swims lately, so he doesn't bring us swim in the chat. We'll make sure that you stop back to the side before you leave and it's chasing with you. So currently we do only have one polar bear here at the zoo. We have multiple previously. The last time we had two was back in 2023 though. We had Berlin, and she did pass away. She was 33 at the time, and she was the oldest in North America in human care. So she did live a very long life. In terms of lifespan for polar bears, they're going to live in the wild, they'll live into their late teens, early 20s. In human care, where they don't have to compete for food or resources, and they have pet care, they live a little bit longer, so into that early to mid-30s range. And for males, it's more likely going to be late 20s. Same thing in the wild, males don't live quite as long. Just overall larger body size, and especially in the wild, they have to do a lot more fighting for breeding and different resources. So Nudek is currently 9 years old, and he's in his prime, so males reach maturity around that 6 to 9 year old range. So we do hope to someday pair him with a female. We do work with the species survival plan. So it's basically a board of people in zoos and aquariums that all work together to make genetic matches so that if they breed, we know that the genetics are good quality genetics and not breeding related animals. And we adopt a lot of different endangered species. So back behind that rockwork up there is where his indoor living is. There is a setup for maternity, we call it our maternity den, and then a whole area that if we were to have a female not had a cub, she could be den like they would do in the wild. So we'll see. In terms of his care, one of the biggest questions we get is how does he survive in the Midwest? So as we know, polar bears are adapted for the Arctic temperatures, and we get a little bit warmer here. So Nudek was born in Columbus, Ohio. And so he is very much a Midwest bear. But we do several things to help keep him comfortable. So that rockwork that I mentioned back there has his holding space, so he's got about four bedrooms. And it's going to be bigger than this area in here. And they are able to be divided. So if we have multiple bears, we can do each of them 2 bedrooms and different setups like that. And we do keep that at about 60 degrees in the summertime. So that way, if he wants to go outside and cool down, he has access to it all the time. So in the summertime, unfortunately, he doesn't go in there to cool down quite a bit. But another way we do cool down is the pool right here. So in the summertime, it is also ran on a chiller at 60 degrees. So when you go swimming in a swimming pool, comfortable temperature is probably going to be around 80 to 84 is where you don't get the shivers when you get in. So it's about 20 to 25 degrees colder than that. When we dive it for cleaning, we do wear full wetsuits because it's too cold to be in there for very long. Like I said, Nudek does use it quite a bit, especially in the warmer months. So in the wintertime, he actually doesn't swim very often, even though we make sure polar bears swimming in icy water. They usually do so to get to different resources, so in between food items when they're hunting. However, it uses 4 times more energy for a polar bear to swim or be in the water than it does for them to be on land. And everything a polar bear does comes back to energy conservation, because they are such a large animal and they do get lots of lard or beef fat, and that kind of emulates the rubber materials. They also get a large mix of fish, and we like to aim for higher fat fish, so like herring, anchovies, or like skyfish. We have about 8 different types that we can use. And then they also get raw ground beef. So when we go pick out our beef, a lot of people like to have leaner beef, so they like it like a 90% protein, 2% fat mix. We try to get the fattest beef we can. So right now we've got a 20% protein, 25% fat mix. So that gives them, if he ate all of it, he could have up to about 40 to 60,000 calories a day. Usually he limits himself quite a bit, and maybe eats closer to the 10 to 25,000 calories daily. Because unlike wild clovers, he does not have to go through fasting. I know it is way more interesting to be in the prayer chat when there is here. So I'm going to pause there, and I'm going to be available for specific questions. If there's anything you want to know about me, about clovers, come up and ask me. And then, like I said, if it doesn't count while you're here, make sure to keep back again before you leave. Because he's already gone for 2 swims today. Unfortunately, he's just enough to